Ladies and gentlemen, we have a breaking news update.
Breaking news, Justin Baldoni has seemingly lost his legal war with Blake Lively.
Breaking news, a federal judge in New York dismisses Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against Blake.
This is a devastating defeat.
Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, has been dismissed. This is a major legal setback. So the judge here says that his claims were not legally sufficient.
Justin Baldoni was suffered a huge blow and it's over, but we can find the silver lining.
Although it may look like a loss for Justin Baldoni, honestly, he completely humiliated Blake Lively once the so-called judge tossed out two of his strongest claims in court.
As it does look like a big win for Blake Lively.
Although this legal twist has left many people confused and questioning what really happened, it makes observers wonder whether influencing a judge could truly be that easy, or if pressure somehow pushed the court to toss out the claims. Honestly, everyone watching feels stunned and is still trying to process the situation. Is this the New York legal system, where the world can see Baldwin's perspective, yet the judge seemed unable to notice it? Nobody understands still whatever strange maneuvers happened behind the scenes. Baldwin's response after the dismissal looked strategic, showing his team plans strong pushback now.
I'm shocked, guys. We're all shocked. I'm still processing.
The legal world just erupted, and what we are witnessing right now does not feel like justice at all. It looks more like corruption unfolding openly for everyone to see.
I don't get it.
While major media outlets celebrate Blake Lively's claimed victory over Justin Baldoni, insiders near Baldwin's legal team are releasing claims they say could leave viewers stunned today. But what we're hearing now is that one request has already been granted. Here's what they say many people still don't know. Justin Baldwin's lawyers say they uncovered troubling material suggesting Blake Lively's powerful legal operation may have reached Judge Lyman before he even reviewed a single page of evidence.
Their amended will address all issues and probably bring in newly discovered ones.
We're talking about alleged judicial influence that seems to go far beyond ordinary legal proceedings. The dismissal arrived suddenly like a hammer, striking down every defamation claim, even though supporters say there was extensive evidence pointing to a coordinated campaign against Baldwin.
Corruption that could have happened. I mean, I know where you stand. You don't believe that.
The situation is here, and the timing alone should make everyone suspicious, because only days before the dismissal, 19 different organizations, all connected to the entertainment industry, reportedly sent a wave of intense legal briefs to Judge Lyman's office.
Today is that this part has been granted.
These were far from ordinary court filings. They were pressure tactics aimed at intimidating the judge into safeguarding Blake Lively at any cost. They essentially warned him, dismiss this case, or you'll be responsible for harming future harassment victims. That is not a legal argument. It is extortion masquerading as activism.
Who is overseeing the consolidated federal cases here, tossed Baldoni's lawsuit into the garbage.
But here's where it gets really messy. Judge Lyman isn't just any federal judge. His brother is a well-known Hollywood director with extensive ties across the entertainment industry.
He could be telling the truth still, which we all believe. Blake Lively's claims could be false. The problem is he had to make a claim, right? He has to have a claim that defamation and things, and that's really what the issue.
This situation creates an enormous conflict of interest that mainstream media refuses to address. When a judge's family fortunes rely on staying in Hollywood's favor, how can he remain impartial regarding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, two of the industry's biggest figures? Sources within Baldwin's team reveal that the judge's family received subtle yet unmistakable warnings about the repercussions of allowing the case to continue. These weren't direct threats, but in Hollywood, influence works on an entirely different level.
Did the things Blake did. It's that his case doesn't hold up given the rules of the law.
Careers can be ruined with just one phone call. Projects can vanish overnight. When facing individuals who control billion-dollar studios and hold the power to blacklist anyone who opposes them, explicit threats aren't necessary. The message is perfectly clear.
Even if everything that the Wayfarer parties said is true in their complaint, they can't sue Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Sloan for these out-of-court, allegedly defamatory statements because of the strong First Amendment.
The evidence of deliberate falsehoods was overwhelming. Blake Lively's coordinated campaign involved Ryan Reynolds, their publicist Leslie Sloan, and even the New York Times. Yet Judge Lyman dismissed all claims, asserting that Baldoni had failed to demonstrate malicious intent.
So the judge says that there is no evidence that Reynolds, Lively, or New York Times knowingly spread falsehoods. Lively's statements in her formal complaint are legally privileged.
This is the same judge who overlooked clear evidence that Blake Lively's team broke promises, manipulated media coverage, and orchestrated a systematic campaign to ruin Baldwin's reputation and career. Unsurprisingly, legal experts are calling this dismissal suspicious because defamation cases with such extensive documented coordination typically at least reach a jury trial. The fact that Judge Lyman ended it before any jury could see the evidence suggests something far more troubling behind the scenes. Blake's team didn't win on legal merits. They won because the system was stacked in their favor from the very start.
Dismissed the first time to actually amend it and make the judge accept it.
Blake Lively's legal team carried out a devastating strategy that went well beyond ordinary Hollywood disputes. This was not merely about silencing Justin Baldoni. It aimed to systematically dismantle his entire professional life through two powerful attack vectors that left him both financially ruined and professionally blacklisted.
Media tells us, even though all of them are telling us the same thing right now.
The economic assault began with what Baldwin's $400 million lawsuit described as outright theft of his creative project. Sources inside Wayfair Studios report that Blake didn't merely interfere with production. She orchestrated a full corporate takeover that removed Baldwin's directorial control, stripped his creative vision, and nullified his contractual rights to the project he had developed for years. The lawsuit details how Blake's team leveraged their superior industry connections to pressure distributors, theater chains, and streaming platforms into deals that excluded Baldwin from profit participation and future sequels.
Lyman is saying that that's a lot. So I'm going to allow them to get out of some of these.
Court documents reveal that Blake's interference cost Baldwin an estimated $150 million in lost domestic box office revenue alone, along with international distribution rights valued at another $200 million. However, the financial impact extended far beyond a single film.
That is concerning.
Blake's team systematically reached out to Baldwin's other projects, spreading what the lawsuit describes as maliciously false information, which resulted in 3 major studio deals being canceled within weeks of her harassment complaint becoming public.
Surprise.
The character assassination campaign was executed with military precision. Ryan Reynolds personally contacted executives at Sony Pictures, Warner Brothers, and Netflix, according to depositions filed in the case.
Dismissing this case like this, I don't think there's much hope for Baldoni to actually receive any form of compensation for what he's gone through.
These were far from casual conversations. Reynolds explicitly warned studio executives that collaborating with Baldwin would bring legal risks and PR disasters to their companies. Leslie Sloan, Blake's longtime publicist, coordinated media placements across 17 entertainment outlets, providing identical talking points that portrayed Baldwin as a predator without offering any evidence to back up the allegations.
You are basically damaging all cases in the future for me to survive.
The New York Times became a willing participant in this campaign of destruction when they violated their explicit promise to give Baldwin until noon on December 21st to respond to their story. Instead, they published at 9:47 a.m., deliberately preventing him from presenting his side. Internal emails revealed during discovery show that the Times reporter contacted Blake's team multiple times for additional context, but never reached out to Baldwin's representatives for the same opportunity.
So it doesn't really count, I guess?
Here's where it gets truly sinister. Blake's complaint wasn't drafted by her legal team at all. Court filings reveal that the entire document was prepared by Crisis Management Consulting Group, the same PR firm that handled damage control for Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and other Hollywood figures accused of misconduct.
If you could get sued successfully, that person, you would be wiped out. No small journalist or independent journalist or even small newspaper would ever take on a big corporation or a powerful individual.
This firm specializes in what they internally call offensive victim positioning, transforming alleged perpetrators into victims through carefully crafted legal language and media manipulation. They used the litigation privilege loophole as their nuclear weapon, since under California law, statements made in official court complaints are legally protected from defamation claims, even if those statements are entirely false.
Corruption that could have happened. I mean, I know where you stand. You don't believe that happened.
Blake Lively's team exploited California's legal protections by filing their harassment complaint first, knowing they could include any accusations without fear of legal consequences, effectively weaponizing the court system to spread lies with legal immunity. This was no accident. Blake's legal team includes former prosecutors who understood precisely how anti-SLAPP laws work in California, choosing Los Angeles because the state statutes are the most aggressive nationwide, designed to dismiss lawsuits quickly and force plaintiffs to pay all attorney fees for defendants. The comparison to Johnny Depp's case reveals Hollywood's location shopping tactics. Depp's legal team had to file in Virginia because California's anti-SLAPP laws would have ended his case against Amber Heard before a jury ever saw evidence, whereas Virginia's lack of comprehensive anti-SLAPP protections in 2022 allowed Depp to present evidence to 12 ordinary citizens. Though anti-SLAPP laws were meant to shield small journalists and activists from being bankrupted by powerful corporations, they have been repurposed by the entertainment elite to silence victims. When a harassment complaint is filed against a celebrity, that celebrity can immediately countersue for defamation and invoke anti-SLAPP protections to dismiss the case and compel the accuser to pay millions in legal fees, creating a chilling effect in Hollywood. Assistants, crew members, and lesser-known actors recognize that speaking out could financially devastate them. Even if their claims are true, they face years of litigation against teams of expensive lawyers, followed by anti-SLAPP dismissals that leave them bankrupt. Attorney Christopher Melcher explained on Popcorn Planet that this system operates in reverse from its intended purpose, protecting powerful predators rather than free speech. Baldon's team documented at least 12 cases in which A-list celebrities used identical anti-SLAPP tactics to silence harassment victims who couldn't fight back. The most damning revelation came from leaked internal communications, showing Blake's team deliberately timed their legal strategy, knowing Judge Lyman would preside. Court records indicate that Blake's lawyers delayed filing their complaint by 6 weeks to ensure it landed on Lyman's docket, implying inside knowledge of judicial assignments and strategic selection of the judge most favorable to their anti-SLAPP motion. Smoking gun evidence in sealed court transcripts uncovers a web of lies so extensive that Blake's own words became self-incriminating. During her February 15th deposition, she swore under oath that she never discussed Justin Baldoni with media outlets and had no involvement in press coordination regarding their dispute. Yet, Baldon's subpoenas revealed Blake placed 17 calls to entertainment reporters between December 18th and December 23rd, 2024, including a 43-minute conversation with People magazine's senior editor on December 20th. Contradictions continued. Blake testified that Ryanreynolds had minimal awareness and never acted regarding Baldon, but Discovery produced text messages showing Reynolds sent detailed instructions to Blake's publicist, Leslie Sloan, on December 16th, writing, "We need to make sure this narrative sticks. Justin can't recover from this if we do it right. I'll handle the studio calls personally." Reynolds' involvement far exceeded typical spousal support. Court filings confirm he personally contacted 12 studio executives between December 19th and 28th, 2024, specifically warning against associating with Baldon. A December 22nd email to Netflix's content chief stated, "Justin Baldoni represents a significant legal and reputational risk. Any association with him will reflect poorly on your brand and could expose you to liability," with Reynolds copying Blake's legal team, proving coordinated effort rather than independent concern. The most incriminating evidence includes 6 calls Reynolds made to Disney executives on December 27th, the same day Blake's harassment complaint was filed, along with internal Disney emails showing Reynolds threatened to withdraw from upcoming Marvel projects if Disney did not immediately sever ties with Baldon-affiliated productions. One executive wrote, "Reynolds is essentially blackmailing us. This goes way beyond protecting his wife." Leslie Sloan's media campaign left a clear digital trail proving malicious intent. Her December 19th email to Variety's senior correspondent included scripted talking points designed to destroy Baldon's reputation, urging coverage framing him as a pattern predator using words like calculated and manipulative. The litigation strategy exploited California's anti-SLAPP statutes to shield false claims, while simultaneously creating a chilling precedent, deterring anyone in Hollywood from speaking out. Blake's legal machine, combined with Reynolds' personal interventions, demonstrates a methodical, multi-level strategy to eliminate Baldwin professionally and financially. Evidence shows their coordination extended beyond one lawsuit, influencing multiple studios, press outlets, and even public perception. By combining legal privilege, media manipulation, and celebrity influence, Blake's team effectively weaponized the court system, ensuring Baldwin's claims were dismissed while simultaneously damaging his career and reputation. Anti-SLAPP laws, initially intended to protect free speech, were leveraged as offensive tools, illustrating how the intersection of law, PR, and celebrity power can create near-impenetrable defenses for those at the top. Baldwin's legal team's documentation, including phone records, emails, and internal communications, presents a clear picture. Blake Lively's legal strategy was not merely defensive, but aggressively designed to silence, discredit, and financially ruin Baldwin, highlighting systemic vulnerabilities in the entertainment industry and raising questions about the fairness and impartiality of celebrity-focused litigation. Blake Lively's coordinated campaign against Justin Baldoni demonstrates a meticulously executed, multi-layered strategy designed to destroy him professionally and financially while simultaneously shielding herself from legal consequences, and the evidence reveals the lengths her team went to manipulate media coverage and legal processes. Sloan's communications show Operation Cleanup, a systematic effort to place negative stories across entertainment media, with identical emails sent to reporters at The Hollywood Reporter, Entertainment Weekly, and TMZ, all timed for maximum impact. Sloan's December 21st text to Blake proclaimed, "Phase 1 complete. THR, Variety, and EW all running negative pieces tomorrow. NYT's story drops Thursday. He won't survive this weekend," proving the attacks were calculated destruction campaigns, not organic reporting. The New York Times journalistic malpractice reached what many consider criminal levels of ethical violation when reporter Sarah Johnson promised Baldwin's representatives he would have until 12 p.m. Eastern on December 21st to respond to questions, yet the story was published at 9:47 a.m., giving only 37 minutes to address 43 specific allegations. Internal Times communications revealed Johnson received final approval to publish early after a phone call with a representative described only as BL's agent, and her editor admitted in emails, "We're breaking protocol here," but the source insists timing is critical for maximum impact, demonstrating that the Times prioritized Blake's PR strategy over journalistic integrity, deliberately silencing Baldwin's voice. The mental health records Blake refused to release contain some of the most explosive evidence. Court filings show she claimed severe emotional distress and debilitating anxiety from interactions with Baldwin, seeking $25 million in damages for psychological trauma. When Judge Lyman ordered an independent psychiatric evaluation and disclosure of her 2023 and 2024 mental health records, Blake's team filed emergency motions to block discovery. Court-appointed psychiatrist Dr. Patricia Williams' preliminary report noted no trauma response, only calculated emotional displays that seemed rehearsed. Blake's legal team moved to suppress these findings, claiming attorney-client privilege, which does not apply to court-ordered evaluations. Sealed mental health records reportedly reveal she was coached by crisis management consultants on how to perform trauma symptoms for media appearances and legal proceedings, with therapy sessions from late 2024 discussing consistent emotional presentation and avoiding contradictory statements. Blake's empire began crumbling on March 8, 2025, when Judge Lyman ruled she could not claim severe emotional distress without providing medical evidence, stating, "Plaintiff cannot seek monetary damages for psychological trauma while simultaneously blocking court-ordered evaluation of that alleged trauma." Consequently, she withdrew her $25 million emotional distress claim, eliminating the lawsuit's largest component, and all evidence regarding her claimed psychological suffering, including tearful media interviews and testimony, was excluded. Blake's team attempted to keep 17 pieces of evidence sealed, including texts with Reynolds, communications with Sloan, and financial records showing payments to Crisis Management Consulting Group, but the court rejected these motions, noting that by filing a public harassment complaint, she opened herself to scrutiny. Major studios began distancing themselves despite her apparent legal victory. Sony Pictures quietly removed her from consideration for 3 projects in February 2025, citing reputational and litigation concerns. Warner Brothers canceled preliminary talks for a sequel to A Simple Favor. Netflix executives convened an emergency meeting on March 5th to discuss the situation, ultimately pausing development on 2 projects, with one executive noting, "The discovery process has revealed too many concerning details about her methods and credibility." Legal fees alone for Blake Lively could exceed $10 million, covering months of high-intensity litigation, emergency motions, aggressive discovery, and deployment of multiple top-tier law firms specializing in media, entertainment, and defamation defense. For a star of her stature, this financial burden is staggering, effectively turning a public relations win into a private crisis. Paradoxically, Baldwin's apparent loss may have been his most strategic maneuver. By pushing the envelope, his legal team forced Judge Lyman into a corner where the case's dismissal was overtly biased, creating an undeniable paper trail of corruption. Emails, subpoenas, and internal communications demonstrate Reynolds' direct involvement, including instructions to Sloan on December 16th to ensure the narrative stuck, along with 12 calls to studio executives warning against working with Baldwin, and a December 22nd email to Netflix's content chief labeling Baldwin a legal and reputational risk, copied to Blake's legal team. 6 additional calls to Disney executives occurred on December 27th, coinciding with the harassment complaint filing, while internal Disney emails show Reynolds threatened withdrawal from Marvel projects if Disney did not distance itself from Baldwin-affiliated productions. Sloan's media campaign left an extensive digital trail proving malicious intent. Her December 19th email to Variety's senior correspondent included scripted talking points framing Baldwin as a pattern predator, using words like calculated and manipulative. Blake's legal strategy exploited California's anti-SLAPP laws, shielding false claims while creating a chilling precedent, deterring Hollywood staff and lesser-known actors from speaking out due to potential financial ruin. Evidence from phone records, emails, and internal communications shows Blake's team, with Reynolds' personal interventions, methodically attacked Baldwin across multiple fronts, leveraging media, legal privilege, and celebrity influence to ensure dismissal of claims while inflicting maximum reputational and financial damage, exposing systemic vulnerabilities in entertainment industry litigation and raising questions about fairness and accountability in celebrity-focused legal battles. Baldwin's approach is a strategic battle to win the larger war, and by allowing the case to be dismissed at this stage, he frees himself from the constraints of active litigation, enabling him to present his full narrative without fear of contempt of court or additional legal restrictions on his speech. The initial lawsuit acted as a catalyst, a legal tripwire designed to provoke the system into revealing its true colors. The appeal process, while lengthy and complex, is Baldwin's ultimate weapon. Over the next 2 to 3 years, as the case works its way through appellate courts, his team plans to expose every detail of the alleged corruption. Appeals provide a platform to scrutinize judicial conduct, procedural irregularities, and the application of law, offering a stage to unveil the influence of Hollywood behind the scenes. The current dismissal, combined with glaring inconsistencies and the judge's questionable familial connections, gives Baldwin ample grounds to challenge the ruling, providing a fresh opportunity to present his evidence to a higher court free from the alleged bias of Judge Lyman. Meanwhile, attempts to obscure the true financial damage to Blake Lively are already underway. While official statements may downplay her legal expenses, internal ledgers tell a far more revealing story. Specialized boutique law firms often employ opaque billing practices, bundling services and charging inflated rates that are difficult to scrutinize, while advances against future projects quietly offset legal costs, making the immediate financial impact appear smaller than it truly is. Lively's team is likely leveraging every possible loophole, deferring payments, converting fees into equity, or disguising costs as other business expenses to minimize apparent losses. Complicating matters further is the insurance angle. Many high-profile figures carry errors and omissions, E&O, policies, or directors and officers, D&O, liability coverage, which typically cover defamation defense costs, but include clauses denying coverage for acts of malicious intent, fraud, or criminal behavior. Given the substantial evidence Baldoni's team claims to hold regarding Blake Lively's alleged coordination of a character assassination campaign, false statements under oath, and media manipulation, insurers could refuse to cover her expenses, leaving her personally liable for multi-million-dollar legal bills, effectively turning her legal victory into a financial disaster. The appeal is not only about overturning Judge Lyman's decision, it is a lever to expose Hollywood's entrenched corruption networks. Baldoni's team recognizes that the initial lawsuit was a skirmish. The appellate phase will allow deeper examination of boutique law firms' practices, the relationships between industry power players and judicial appointments, and the financial mechanisms used to silence victims. Every subpoena, deposition, and procedural motion will be meticulously documented and, where legally permissible, shared publicly. This case is about more than one celebrity. It is about exposing the opaque power dynamics that have long governed Hollywood. Ultimately, the final checkmate for Blake Lively will not be a courtroom verdict, but the unavoidable destruction of her reputation. Even if legal maneuvers initially fall in her favor, the weight of the evidence, the public exposure from future revelations, and the unraveling of her carefully curated narrative will ensure her professional standing is irreparably damaged. Studios, producers, and directors are already wary of association with controversial figures, and the details of this case, particularly allegations of coordinated malicious attacks and judicial manipulation, will mark her as a liability. In Hollywood, perception is reality, and Baldoni's ultimate strategy is to permanently alter that perception, ensuring that Blake Lively's apparent victory is remembered only as the prelude to her complete and irreversible downfall, with every legal and public exposure meticulously designed to undermine her credibility, isolate her from industry allies, and demonstrate the long-term consequences of abusing power and influence in the entertainment world while signaling to others in Hollywood. That strategic exposure and accountability will eventually catch up to even the most powerful figures.